Today we'll discuss more about B and T cell zones and hyperplasia of B and T cell zones and structural basis of some types of lymphomas. Before that, we briefly review structure of lymph node. Outer cortex is B cell zone and it contains B cells in form of follicles or nodules. Inner cortex or paracortex contain T cells and it extends from outer cortex to medulla and it also extends between follicles. B and T lymphocytes are produced in bone marrow and they reach to lymph node through blood circulation. They leave blood vessels through postcapillary venules called high endothelial venules, mostly present in region of paracortex. Let's discuss about B cell zone that is associated with antibody response. Primary follicles are dense uniform aggregates of naive B cells present in outer cortex. After interaction with antigens, it results in proliferation of B cells and formation of pale staining germinal centers in these follicles. And follicles with germinal centers are called secondary follicles. T cell zone is associated with cell-mediated or cytotoxic response. This is picture of secondary follicle containing germinal center. Germinal center is site of proliferation of B cells after interacting with antigen. It contains dark zone where B cells proliferate and then they move to light zone and where the affinity of these B lymphocyte is tested. And B lymphocytes that have significant affinity for antigen are selected, and if B cells have low affinity for antigens, they undergo apoptosis. So B cells proliferate in dark zone and undergo process of hypermutation. Then they reach light zone where they are selected for differentiation into plasma cells and memory B cells if they have high affinity for antigen. If they have low affinity for antigen, then they undergo apoptosis. Another characteristic of secondary follicle is presence of mantle zone and marginal zone. Proliferating B cells in germinal center result in formation of a dense rim of B lymphocytes around germinal center, and this is called mantle zone. There is a type of lymphoma called mantle cell lymphoma that results in expansion of mantle zone. And outside of mantle zone is marginal zone. And there is another type of lymphoma called marginal zone lymphoma that results in expansion of marginal zone. Now let's discuss different types of hyperplasia. Follicular hyperplasia is more common and it involves benign proliferation of lymphoid follicles. It results in formation of follicles of variable size. However, there is adequate distance between these follicles and they have intact mantle zone and marginal zone. It can result from both infectious and non-infectious causes like viral infections, bacterial infections, and inflammatory conditions. In contrast, paracortical or interfollicular hyperplasia is due to expansion of T cell zone that is associated with cell-mediated response. Paracortical hyperplasia can also occur from infections, vaccines, drugs, and autoimmune conditions. In some situations, there is presence of both follicular and paracortical hyperplasia. Both follicular and paracortical hyperplasia can result in enlargement of lymph node. Now let's discuss structural basis of different types of lymphomas. In follicular lymphoma, malignant cells form follicles. However, these follicles are hypercellular, more numerous, and closely packed and present side by side. Mantle zone and marginal zone in follicular lymphoma is either very compressed or absent. Mantle cell lymphoma arises from lymphocytes in mantle zone and it results in expansion of mantle zone. And marginal zone lymphoma results in enlargement and expansion of marginal zone.